Good evening, everybody. I am Fictional Crystals, and we do not have our Shiro. Shiro has been through a lot. Seasons 1 and 2 both ended with Shiro disappearing somewhere. Not Season 3 though. Season 3 had a surprisingly kind ending for Shiro. Nothing majorly damaging happened to him at the end of the season. That's because this is not our Shiro. The Shiro we had in Seasons 1 and 2 is still missing. When we first saw Shiro appear in Season 3, he was being held captive by the Galra. He was wearing his old prisoner clothes. His hair was overgrown. That's our first clue. Shiro had been missing from Team Voltron for about a month at most. A month is not nearly enough time for your hair to grow that long. Shiro had to have been in Galra captivity for a much longer amount of time for his hair to grow that long. Why was Shiro in Galra captivity again anyway? The Black Line has the ability to teleport. At the end of Season 2, it teleported Shiro away, but not to a Galra base. The Black Line was trying to save Shiro. The Black Line wouldn't have teleported Shiro to somewhere where he wasn't safe. Keith and Shiro actually had a discussion about this. Zarkon was trying to take control of the Black Line from Shiro up to the very last second of their fight. Zarkon was the Black Line's original paladin, and had a strong enough bond with his line to overpower Shiro. That was until Shiro's bond with the Black Line became stronger than Zarkon's. The Black Line chose him instead of Zarkon when the two were fighting in the astral plane. Zarkon's bond with the Black Line became weaker. He was hardly able to overpower Shiro in the Season 2 final. Shiro was even able to take the Black Barret from Zarkon thanks to the Black Lion. By the end of Season 2, Zarkon could not have had enough power to make the Black Line teleport Shiro to a Galran base. Zarkon was getting badly hurt and struggling with fighting Voltron. His concentration wasn't good enough to take control of the Black Line from Shiro. Neither was his bond. The Black Line teleported Shiro somewhere safe enough for him to survive. Definitely not a Galra base. This brings up another fact. The Black Line didn't let Shiro back in. Black wouldn't work for Shiro again, despite Shiro having the strongest bond with his lion. When Shiro was the Black Line's paladin in previous seasons, the Black Line still let its former paladin Zarkon in. But now that Keith is Black's paladin, Black wouldn't work for its previous paladin Shiro. The Blue Line didn't let Lance back in either. However, there was a good reason for Blue and Lance. To show Lance how much the team needed him, he got bumped up, becoming Keith's right-hand man as the Red Line's paladin. The Blue Line knew Lance was ready for this. Blue had to give Lance a push to go to Red, which is why Blue didn't let him back in. Blue not letting Lance back in was justified. Black not letting Shiro back in was not. Or was it? The Black Line realized that this wasn't its Shiro when Shiro tried to pilot it. This Shiro didn't have the same spark, the same quintessence if you will.
The quintessence of the pilot is mirrored in his lion.
Shiro's reunion with the rest of the team wasn't shown on screen. In fact, for the big deal made about him being gone, he returned incredibly fast to the series. The episode after Keith found him didn't even start with him on screen. You'd think after all the drama his disappearance caused, they'd at least show him and Keith reuniting. They didn't make a big deal about him returning to the Paladins, because there's still a reunion of him and the Paladins coming up. A real reunion with the real Shiro. Shiro's Galra identification code has changed. This was his original identification code.
Fugitive prisoner 117-9875 detected.
This is his identification code now.
Subject Y0XT39.
They are different codes. There was no reason for the Galra to change his code, unless this Shiro is a different person. In the base he was being held in, there were two of him. The Galra were making clones of Shiro. The project is known as Operation Kuron. Kuron means clone in Japanese. Shiro is meant to be Japanese on the show. In Japanese, Shiro means white. The opposite of white is black. And black in Japanese is called Kuro. Sounds and is spelled very close to Kuron, right? The Galra were running tests on their Shiro clones. You could briefly see them doing it to the Shiro that is currently with the Paladins. This Shiro had been with the Galra for months, which is why his hair is so long. Things about the Shiro's appearance are slightly off. Don't even get me started on his new look. I'm not going to be all nitpicky about his new hair and clothes, though a few face features look slightly different. What I am going to talk about is his arm. Shiro's cyborg arm can be used as a weapon. When we saw Shiro use it like this in Seasons 1 and 2, his whole prosthetic arm glowed, but this is not the case for Shiro in Season 3. Only the hand part of his prosthetic arm glows, not the whole thing when he uses it as a weapon. But why did the Galra decide to clone Shiro? How were the Galra able to clone him? It goes all the way back to when the real Shiro had to fight in the gladiator arena. He defeated an opponent nobody else could. Witnesses of the fight saw him as bloodthirsty. He was dubbed the champion. He was one of the best fighters to ever come into the arena. Because of this, Haggar and her druids decided to experiment on him.
They do love to experiment.
Haggar had the intentions of making him one of the Galra Empire's greatest weapons.
You could have been our greatest weapon.
The champion got away before they could use him as a weapon, but not before they took something from him, his right arm. With the DNA from his arm, they were able to clone him. His right arm didn't just turn into a weapon, his right arm also created weapons. The Galra got to use their champion after all. The Galra let Shiro escape fairly easily. When Shiro first escaped from Galra captivity, he had a much harder time. Sure, they shot at him a few times, but they didn't go after him. They were expecting him to escape. You can tell by the way this Galra reacted to him getting away. They're up to stage 3 of their plan. Now they got one of their own inside the Castle of Lions. The Shiro could take the Paladins down from the inside out. He doesn't know he's a clone, and he's got the memories of the actual Shiro, but the Galra can use this one. His memories only got up to the fight with Zarkon. After that, transmission with the real Shiro's brain got cut off. This Shiro had a bad headache, perhaps due to the sudden surge of information given from the real Shiro's brain. Shiro in seasons 1 and 2 had an undercut, but this Shiro does not. Maybe because there's something in his head which they don't want to show, so they decided to cover it up with here. In season 2, there was a hint that the Galra could have put fake memories in Shiro's head.
Galra could have implanted fake memories of the escape in your head.
The Paladins trust him, but that could end up backfiring in their faces. When Shiro got stranded on an icy cold planet, he was found by these 2 aliens. They were immediately suspicious of him, saying that he was sent by the Galra to get information, trying to take them down from the inside. What if they were right? This Shiro made Keith doubt himself as a leader. He said to just deal with the consequences of lowering Voltron's shield. Shiro's overall interactions with Keith this season felt off. There was a sense of tension. Honestly, all this cloning business is going to give us and the Paladins a headache. It's already given Clone Shiro a headache. But anyway, thanks for watching and save Shiro 2K17.
He's gone.